Welcome back, everybody. This is Eric and Chad here from Moss Pawn and Gun, and today we have another gun gripe episode for you. Before we get started with today's gripe, I do want to tell you a little bit. We've been away recently in terms of gun gripes and other shop videos because Chad has a new addition to the family now.
Yeah, well, I had to stay home and take care of Mama, so I took about a month off.
Yeah, so it took a little time off, so we're back to making some shop videos now. So what today's video is going to be about is we're going to talk about the restrictions on Saigas and basically an import ban that was imposed by executive order by Obama, and essentially it's a whole list of Russian-made firearms that can't be imported into the U.S. Everything from Urals, Tazas, Saigas, Molot, Vepr, anything in Ishmash, anything that involves Kalashnikov holdings. Of course, this isn't news by any means. This isn't new. Shouldn't be new to you guys, but we haven't really been able to talk about it because we've been away from gripes.
Well, I mean, there's still a lot of misinformation that's out there about the ban. I mean, some people say, okay, it's a Saiga ban. Well, it doesn't just incorporate Saiga rifles. And initially people were thinking that all AKs were banned, but AKs not only come from Russia, but I mean, you're talking like Serbia, Bulgaria, Romania, I mean, all kinds of other countries. Poland.
Sure.
Some of the best ones are from Poland.
Yeah, the Radoms.
Yeah, the Radoms are great.
Excellent.
But, people don't realize that AKs come from many different countries. So, right. There's a lot of, miscommunication and just, misunderstanding about the whole subject out there.
A lot of fear-mongering, too.
Well, yeah, and we're just trying to cover that, and get people on the same page. So.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, like Chad said, there's a lot of other AK pattern guns that can be brought in from other places, obviously. But there's also domestically produced AK variants. For instance, with Fostech, I know you guys probably noticed that we followed the Origin 12 since pretty much its initial prototype stages.
2 years ago.
So yeah, the Origin 12 from Fostech is a really unique 12-gauge shotgun that hopefully will fill the niche for the Saiga 12 not being brought in anymore and some of the others.
Also the Vepr. I mean, the Vepr 12s are a really popular gun too that are no longer being brought in. I mean, what's out there on the shelves and on the private market is it at this point. That's pretty much
it for now, unless things change.
Oh yeah, but see, Fostech a while back when they were taking over production of the Origin 12, they were selling receivers before, before and during the kind of gun ban scare, that was going on. But, oh yeah.
Yeah.
But anyways, they were selling receivers during the scare, and basically as long as you got into a receiver, if the guns were banned, for some odd reason or whatever the case may have been, you would have had a grandfathered receiver, so they would still honor that receiver and build the gun out for you.
Sure.
But none of that ever came to pass, and they're actually nearing full production on those guns as we speak.
Yeah, so and as soon as one of those guns is ready, guys, we're going to get a full review out on the Origin 12. For instance, there's other companies out there, like for instance, Century has a completely U.S.-produced AK pistol. This is their Century C39, and it's basically a milled receiver, completely U.S.-produced AK pistol, and they also offer rifle configurations and things like that. I mean, this isn't supposed to be a commercial for Fostech or Century, but just to let you know, there are U.S.-produced variants that are out there that are completely U.S.-made. So don't worry. Just because there's this convoluted and misunderstood executive order that surrounds the exportation of certain Russian products to include firearms doesn't necessarily mean that you're not going to be able to get your favorite AK pattern. They're certainly out there. Arsenal out in Las Vegas, for instance, they produce some beautiful AK-47s. Many of their guns are imported as parts kits and built by them, and then some of them are factory guns from Bulgaria that are reworked. It really just depends on, I suppose, what type you get, but from my understanding, unless I'm incorrect, most of their guns are either factory guns that they just work when they get there, or they build them off of Bulgarian parts kits.
They bring a lot of parts kits in. I mean, like places like, guys like, what's his name, Jim or Mike Fuller at Rifle Dynamics. I think they're also in Las Vegas. They're one of the premier AK builders in the States, as well as Mark Krebs.
Yeah, Mr. Krebs, he does great work.
And I mean, I've got one of the KV-13s, and I mean, the gun is a beautiful AK. I mean, beautifully made,
yeah, they are.
Smooth as glass, and it's built on a Vepr. Now, a lot of people think that, Mark Krebs is going out of business, or Rifle Dynamics is going out of business because they can't get the AKs in. That is very far from the truth. I mean, there are other pattern AKs that can be brought in, so those guys are going to stay in business and continue to produce the product that, the market demands.
Well, yeah, so, I mean, look at, Ray and I, here at the shop, we've done a lot of 922R work on Saigas, everything from shotgun conversions, rifle conversions. And yeah, it does affect business a little bit. We do take a little bit of a hit because, the the unobtainium factor of the S12 and many of the rifle variants, it does make it hard, because now instead of a base gun selling for $500 that anybody can just buy and then send it to us to convert, you know, some of these people are getting, you know, $700 to $800 to $900 for an unconverted Saiga 12.
Oh, I've seen them on Gunbroker for as much as like $1,100.
$1,000, yeah.
You know?
And I remember when you could buy Saiga 12 shotguns for $250.
$250?
$250 you could buy S12s, because nobody knew about them, nobody cared, and they just weren't anything special. You know, there weren't anybody really doing work on the guns at the time, and nobody was really doing any kind of performance work or gunsmithing work on them. But now you have this whole cottage industry that is actually affected by this export ban, or import ban, I should say. And it sucks, because you have this cottage industry, mom and pop companies that, you know, there might be a company that produces nothing but a certain little mount or a safety lever, or
like Carolina Shooter Supply.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
I mean, we get a lot of parts for the Saiga conversions from Carolina Shooters. I mean,
and I'm sure their business has been adversely affected.
Well, I mean, they sell a lot of other material too, but I mean, you know, still, I mean, the Saiga ban affects everybody.
Well, there's a couple of good part suppliers that we've worked with over the years. One of them is Mississippi Auto Arms. They produce a lot of really cool stuff. I mean, everything from upturned Galil handles for AKs, just all kind of cool gadgets. And of course, we've done you know, work with MD Arms. Gosh, there's so many of them.
Oh, I know.
I can't think of all the rest of them. I think we've done with like akbuilder.com, a few other people. So there's just a ton of cottage industry that's negatively affected by it. And I guess that's the whole gripe of it, is that, you know, it's not going to affect the availability of AK pattern guns to the civilian market too adversely, but it mainly affects cottage industry, gunsmiths. It affects our livelihood, because now that's less stuff to work on, that's less conversion work for us to do. And maybe in some weird or convoluted way, maybe that was part of the goal of the ban, or the restrictions that were set forth.
It very much could have been an underlying reason.
They knew that it was going to, you know, adversely affect the firearms industry.
Well, you can't help. I mean, you know, being in the firearms industry ourselves, I mean, you can't help but see an import ban or sanctions against Russia. I mean, obviously, all the stuff going on right now between Russia and the Ukraine is part of the reason. But you can't help but think that, you know, just that anti-gun agenda is underlying in there somewhere. I mean, it has to be in their minds, like, hey, you know, we can do this import ban, but hey, we get a double strike.
Right.
You know?
It's almost like a chance to take a swing at us. And they know that they're going to get public support for it because of the political ramifications that surround that decision.
Yeah, the foreign policy decision on it. But
exactly.
What a lot of people don't realize is it's not just a ban on AK pattern guns. I mean, a lot of the guns that were imported through Concern Kalashnikov, which is the conglomerate of, you know, companies such as TAWS, you know, that's the Tula Ordnance Factory basically. You've got Ishmash, you've got IZH or IHZ, Molot.
Right.
But they
Pepper.
produce a lot of like target pistols and target rifles, very cheap 22 bolt guns that came in, like the TAWS biathlon guns.
But everything all the way from economy entry-level bolt-action rifles all the way up to the same guns that the Russians have been spanking our butts in the Olympics with for the last, 6 years, 7 years, or, you know, the last 2 or 3 times we've been against them.
All of those guns are banned from import as well, and they're just simple bolt guns, you know, for the most part, or small semi-automatic target pistols, you know, and people don't even think about those. I mean, those are just kind of brushed off to the side. It's, AKs only. But no, I mean, it encompasses a wider range of firearms than people think.
Those upper-end TAZs, like the ones with the toggle action, those guns have hammer-forged barrels, very, very high-quality cold hammer-forged barrels, very unique operating system. If you ever watch the guys that shoot in the Olympics, you know, it's just basically like a Luger toggle, but without a spring. You just flick a wrist.
What's that gun that POF is producing? Is it POF is producing that 1022 with that kind of toggle action? It's based around that sort of design.
I think so. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, there's a couple of things that have been worked out.
PWS.
Yeah, PW. Yeah, cool. But it's just unfortunate, guys, and I guess that's the whole thing about the gripe here is that, you know, it's just, I mean, I can understand, I suppose, from a standpoint of why they would want to impose those type of restrictions against Russia. I know that they turned around and they said, oh, well, we don't want any more of your fatty McDonald's food. So, like, now they're not accepting exports from us of, like, McDonald's, of all things.
I don't remember if it was just McDonald's. It was food products, but I don't remember the details
of it. Certain food products and things that they've been getting from us. I think, like, cigarettes and all kinds of
certain goods
random
and commodities, that sort of thing.
I mean, I But, you know, I guess the whole thing is I just want to see people get along, and I know it's kind of hard to expect people to just be mature, and I don't know. It just seems like the people that run these countries, they're not wired like me and you are. You know, they march to a beat of their own drum, and sometimes they make decisions that we may not think are very smart, or we may not, you know, see as being popular. But that's just the way the world works. And
yeah, it is. I mean, it's all a power struggle.
It is a power struggle, and at the end of the day, we have to deal with it. Hopefully, one day the import ban on Saigas and other, you know, Kalashnikov holdings rifles will be lifted or changed or gotten rid of. Maybe once things calm down and get back to normal, our relationship with Russia improves. Remember, guys, you know, back during the Clinton administration, we had a very similar issue happen with China, where we stopped, you know,
importing Norinkos.
Yeah. So Clinton stopped all of the importations of Norinco.
And you still can't get them. You know, they're
we
still not allowed for
can't
import.
get Norinco firearms. And of course, you know, anytime they get the gun control measures they want, it's always hard as hell for them to get them in. But then when it comes to us getting them back, once you lose a right, it is so hard to restore that right. It's easy for them to take it away. They might fight hard to take it away. But when they do take it away, it's going to be 10 times as hard to get it back. Because we know the direction they want to go with gun ownership in America. We know what they're thinking and what they're trying to get at. And was this some underhanded, backdoor gun grab? Maybe. But now that it's done, what's going to reverse it? It would take another presidential order. It would take another president signing an executive order. And then, of course, you know, he's going to be under all this flack.
Well, and also, you know,
does so.
Based on the reasoning behind the executive order itself, I mean, basically all the conflict between Russia and the Ukraine would have to cease, and there would have to be a treaty signed, or whatever the case may be. You know, peace would have to be, you know, laid out in the region.
Sure.
And then maybe down the road we could see about getting the ban lifted. But for right now, I mean, it's on paper, and it's the law of the land, you know.
Yeah, so it's very unfortunate, guys, and we have to really watch out for this kind of stuff. In future Gun Gripes, we're going to talk more about things, hopefully a little bit more timely, you know, as they happen and as they're more pertinent like we used to do. You know, we just had a delay in getting back to Gun Gripes because of some things we had going on with the family and everything. But I certainly want to thank you guys for watching the video. Hopefully this gave you some food for thought. If you didn't know about it, maybe now you do. If you did know about it, maybe you learned a little bit more about the treaty and what's entailed in it, what's involved in it that you knew before. But we certainly appreciate the support. We've been getting a heck of a lot of phone calls, emails, comments from you guys, and they're all positive for the most part. And I want to really thank you for your time watching today. We will be back with more Gun Gripes, and we'll catch you next time.
Take it easy.